Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? What's going on? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. And today, here's what we're talking about. When you add it up, was it all worth it? Seriously, when you look over your life and you do the addition subtraction game where you say, man, I would do that over again. This is one of these questions that I woke up this morning. I didn't have the specific question on my mind, but it came down to this question. So we're going to talk about the question. We're going to talk about, kind of like, where you go, like when you feel like you want to go to the bottom. When you feel like you're done and you're like, what, forget it. I'm not going to do it anymore. Like, then what do you do? Because you got to add it up and you got to come to a synopsis. We're going to come to a synopsis today. And after we finish, I think you'll be encouraged. I think you'll be encouraged. And so I love music. So I'm just running to this real quick. I love music. And music is one of these areas that I used to, I didn't listen to personal development. I wasn't growing myself. I wasn't reading books. I listened to music. And so music I was always playing some music, especially in my car, I love gospel music because gospel music is some of the most encouraging music out there, right? Like if you're a person of encouragement, like I am, like I'm a person of encouragement. I show up here to encourage every day. That's what the Account for Life podcast is, to encourage. And so if you're a person of encouragement, sometimes you get to the point where you need some encouragement or you need to stay encouraged, and so I remember a few years ago, I did a podcast. I think I may have even called it, Got to Encourage Yourself. And, that's a song written by Donald Lawrence back in 2006. And that song, the first verse of the songs, it says, sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Like, think about this. Like when you're adding up where you are and you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself, I need to subtract. There's some things in there that I'm doing. There's some things in there that I've done. There's some things that I'm not feeling so good about. I just meant to bump this. Like I'm finished, like I'm getting tired. Like how many of you have gotten tired? Like you got to the point where you're like, man, it just seems like everything's in vain. And I think I flipped over on YouTube and I found the Clark Sisters. Clark Sisters has a perfect song for this about, you get to the point where you're like, is it in vain? That's their song. Is my living in vain? Am I wasting my time? Like, is my praying in vain? Like seriously, you get to the point, you're like, addition, subtraction, multiplication, whatever it is. And you're like, come on, is it worth it? We get to a point where you can encourage yourself. Let's go. Like you can encourage yourself. Like I can wake up and I can decide, I'm going to, what, if no one's speaking over my life, I'm going to speak over it. I'm going to decree a thing over my own life. Look, at the end of the day, what has God already done? See, it's funny. I was talking to my kids, and I'll ask questions, and because I want to understand what they know. I want to understand, man. How good of a job have I done, man? I'm like, well, I recently found the kingdom in 2019. So imagine this: in 2019, I was 48. I was 48, or I was turning 48 that year. So I turned 48 in 2019. My kids have known me. I started having kids. I guess I was 31. So from 31, let me see, Jared was 16. So Jared was 16. My oldest son was 16 when I discovered the kingdom. What you think about this? He was 16 when I discovered the kingdom. I'm still a baby in the kingdom, and here's the thing. He was already grown at 16. Jacob, 13. 13. What does that mean? So when I go back to ask the question, hey, what do you know about the kingdom of God? I don't know anything. They don't know anything about it. Why? Because I just started learning it. It's like, whoa. Now how old is Jared now? Jared's 19. Jacob's 16. They're going to be 20 and 17 in a couple of days. A couple of days. So think about this. You add it up. And I want to subtract right now. I want to subtract those years of complacency. I want to subtract those years that I wasn't able to, that I didn't know and I couldn't teach my kids. I want to subtract that. Like, how's that going to affect their life that I didn't know? But you got to get to that point where you're looking at it and you've done it. Like, I want to sit here and subtract and there's nothing I can do about it. See, a lot of times we get to a point in our life when there's things that you cannot change. I cannot change those years. It would be a tragedy for me if that's all I focused on. It would be a tragedy for you if you only focused on what you wanted or your desire for subtracting part of the life that's making your life. It would be a tragedy that we would focus on that. What's the point of today? Here's the point. You're going to get to a point in your life when you're going to ask yourself the question, is it worth it? Was it worth it? And you should probably do it today. You should do it today because today is the day. Today is the day where everything can change for you and me, because we can decree a thing over our life. We can encourage ourselves and say, you know what? If no one's going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then we can also realize that, look, even though I've made the mistakes, even though things have not gone the way that I'd like, even though I'd like to subtract a part of my life and that experience, because if I could know what I know today back then, well, maybe things would be different. No sense in focusing on that. Let's look at it like this. The songwriter says this, because I want to read this off. Is my living in vain? Is my giving in vain? Is my praying in vain? Is my fasting in vain? Then they go on the second verse. Am I wasting my time? Can the clock be rewind? Have I let my light shine? Have I made 99? No. Of course not. It's not all in vain. No. Because up the road is eternal gain. Guys, today I want to encourage you that when you do add it up and you realize that there's a part of your life that you want to disregard, there's a part of your life when you say, that I wish I could have done it different. That's when you say to yourself, no. Of course not. It's not all in vain, because up the road is eternal gain. Guys, the AFYL Podcast is here to support you. It's here to help you to see things about life that maybe you don't look at, maybe to help you to get a word of encouragement today, tomorrow, whatever day. We're going to come and we're going to do it every day. Now, I'm changing up the format of this program to shorten it. I used to go 20 minutes. I think I'm going to be under 10 minutes from now on. But the 10 minutes is going to be so that you can move forward in your life. So look, what are you going to do? Today, you're going to encourage yourself. What are you going to realize? That your life is not in vain because up the road is eternal gain. I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of the AFYL Podcast. I'm Jay Moore. I'm the Healthy Accountant. I help you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.